Hello, everybody, and welcome to Life After Death and Beyond with James and Praagh. I'm your host with Kelly White.
Hi,
Kelly.
everybody. Hi, James.
So we are here, for those who can see us and those who are listening. It's been a very interesting week.
Yes, it has. Oh, you betcha.
So Mercury's in retrograde. When did it go in retrograde, Kel?
It went on the 5th of August, and it'll go and it stays retrograde until the 28th of August. So virtually all of August.
And that means some examples of that might mean what? Miscommunications,
things will break down, travel will be difficult, things won't work right. It's not a time delays, not a time to buy really anything big. Not a time to sign a contract. It's time to renew and go back into your life and look at things, things that you might have to redo. But
yeah, so I was just like earlier, I just got my internet recharged because it was bad signaling. The guy said, "Oh, it's fine now. It's about 3 walls away, but I guess it's okay." And signal's still bad. But and also, I said to you, I think early in the weekend, they said to you, I feel like we're in Mercury retrograde all the time. It just feels like or Mercury retrograde is like nothing compared to what it's like now.
It certainly does feel that way because we have also, James, we have several planets in retrograde, not just Mercury.
Well, before we go there, we should tell people that because of Mercury retrograde, our special guest, Linda Backman,
Dr. Linda Backman,
past life regressionist, could not make it because she couldn't get on the internet.
Her internet is not working, and so she couldn't be on it. So I'm as disappointed as anybody else. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Linda's, huge fan. And I'm so excited to have her on, but we will have to carry on. James and I are going to talk a little bit about the astrology and what's going on. And we will hope to see Linda in the future, in the next few weeks.
It's very interesting, everybody, when these things happen, and Kelly and I talk about it a lot, when we get these oppositions or things happen challenging, I kind of think always it's been opportunities. And to remind us that everything happens in divine time. It's like perfect timing. That thing, even though it doesn't look like it.
Yes.
It's got to be divine because.
Yes, it has to be.
The intelligence.
Yeah. I mean, it really has a lot to do with slowing down, although it feels like the energy is speeding up.
I felt like I was a slicer dicer for the past 2 days. I'm like, wow, what's going on here? It's crazy.
Well, I just survived a hurricane. So, yeah.
Tell us, last week you weren't here and because you were stuck in
Hurricane Debbie. Yep.
Hurricane Debbie.
Near Savannah, Georgia, on an island. And we had a hurricane, and we also at the same time had a tornado between the islands that I was on. And it was the most challenging thing. I've been through major earthquakes in Los Angeles, major earthquakes. I've been through tornadoes. I had never been through a hurricane. And I have to say, my hats out to anybody who has survived all these hurricanes. It's very, very frightening, very frightening. And you
had a tornado, and you had a flood, and you had issues with family, and you had everything.
You had power out. My grandchildren were there. It was
Kelly said all these things to me, these horrible things, and she goes, and there's a white shark out in the water. Maybe that's the white shark.
I said, I'll take the great white. My money's on the great white.
Everybody's been having lots of stuff. I'm dealing with people that are dying. I'm helping people over.
Yes, you are. A very good friend, actually.
A very good friend. I would be here today with Adam. So, it's very true. Yeah, it's been a very interesting time for everybody, emotionally and physically, and a lot of health issues going on with people. So astrologically, I do Vedic astrology.
In Vedic astrology, we have a lot of things going on, and I'll just start with a couple of big ones. But just so everybody knows, not only Mercury is retrograde, but James, Saturn is retrograde until November 15th. And so Saturn makes people feel Saturn is work and health and karma, but it makes people feel when it's retrograde, it's stronger. In Vedic astrology, it's stronger, and it makes people feel burned out, stuck, possibly anxious. Have you noticed so many people are anxious right now?
I noticed that anyway. With that, what time it is? I just sit in my car in the parking lot and watch people go by. I'm like, wow.
Right? Well, also you're going to see people that are really irritable. You're going to see a lot of irritability too, which is not a good thing. But
and that's until the 15th.
Yeah, until November 15th. Yes.
November 15th.
November 15th. So, and remember, James, the election is November 4th or 5th. So that's, a while back. So
Yeah.
also,
What happened between now and then? Yes.
a lot is going to happen between now and then.
Yeah.
Pluto is retrograde also until October 11th. And Pluto represents rebirth, renewal, transformation. So this is a big one.
It's Kelly. It's not the underneath. Is that Uranus underneath the underneath, or is that Pluto?
No, that's Pluto. Pluto is the underworld.
The underworld.
The
right.
underworld.
So there could be a lot of like I'm just going to say it, like assassinations, attempts on lives.
Yes.
Explosions, things like that.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
The underworld.
This absolutely can happen.
And uncovering the underworld, uncovering theft, crimes, things like that are going to happen, right?
Right. Well, also Neptune is retrograde until December 7th. So Neptune represents dreams and illusions. But when it's retrograde, James, what happens is everything that has clouded your vision on somebody, you're going to go, oh my God, you really are an addict. Or, oh my God, you really are personality disorder. Or, oh my God, you can't hide it when it's retrograde. For Neptune, you will see the people that you're with. You'll see them for who they really are.
And Kelly, Neptune, retrograde Neptune, would that also be people should pay, if let's say they're very clairvoyant or they just haven't really paid attention to their dreams, would now be a very good time for them?
Yes, and a great question. Yes, because compassion, when it's retrograde, is huge. And here's another one, spirituality. So if you are working on your psychic ability or your astrology or your spiritualness, this is excellent time for this. Because why? Because we will all be tested during the next several months. I mean, the kind of test that you go, wait a minute, did I sign up for this? Yes, you did. You signed up for this.
Yeah. I used to say it was like a year ago, I think I said to you, it's like bumper cars. Now it's like, there's not even a track. They're just cars.
It is like bumper cars, James. In fact, having said that, when Mercury is retrograde with all these other planets, please, everybody, drive carefully. Don't drive like a bat out of hell. Drive carefully. Don't be irritable. That's exactly it. If you get into a car, drive responsibly and calmly, because not everybody is going to be doing that.
No, most aren't. Hey, question for you. You mentioned this last time, or I spoke to you about this. Because of all these retrogrades of the planets, isn't there something about the sun that the sun's not as effective as it usually is because of all these?
Well, it was not as effective, but now it's back on the 16th. It will be in full power. Now, let me just talk about that. So good thing that you asked. Let me just tell you what starts tomorrow. So August 13th is tomorrow, and August 13th.
Is it because I don't even know what date it is?
I know you don't, honey. August 13th to August 17th. We've got quite a few things that are going to be happening. That's August 13th through the 17th. So Mars and Jupiter, huge planets. Jupiter is huge. And Mars is war, Mars is energy, and Jupiter is the spiritual guru. But they are conjunct in what is called a planetary war. And let me explain that.
Wow.
When Mars and Jupiter, they normally are considered in Vedic astrology benefic planets. They get along. Okay. Except when they get too close to each other, it brings conflict. Ooh. So it's going to be in Vedic astrology, they're going to be coming together at 22 degrees of Taurus. And that is
Taurus. Wow.
It means that passions can turn toxic. The world is going to have heightening economic situation, political chaos, disputes. It's a very rough time that we're walking into.
When are the dates to that? Mars, Jupiter.
Starting tomorrow, August 13th. Tomorrow, honey, in about 10 hours.
Great.
August 13th to the 17th. Oh my gosh. But on August 16th, we have August 16th.
Excuse me, Kelly, it's 13th to 16th it goes?
To the 17th.
17th, okay.
Now, on August 16th, until September 16th, so for 1 month, we have the sun, which you were asking about. Now, it's in Leo in Vedic astrology. And the sun and Saturn, the planet Saturn, are in mutual opposition during that time. So this will bring protests and power struggles because they're two opposite energies. And it's something. They
don't like each other.
They do not. And it's interesting because in Vedic astrology, the sun represents the leader. So we're going to have.
I just heard in my head some kind of tyranny.
Oh boy, yeah.
I just heard that. I don't know what that means, but
well, it represents government. It represents power, and the sun and Saturn, I should say, is in Aquarius, which is ruled actually by Saturn also. So there's so much power that these two have opposing each other. It will bring political struggle on a large scale protests, large scale. And it's also, on top of that, it overlaps with Uranus. So Uranus represents suddenness. So there could be a war that comes in to do with, because Jupiter has to do with religion also. And it could be with Mars is war, Uranus is sudden. We're looking at probably Iran and Israel right now, because it could bring like a war between like radicalists, is what I'm saying. This is a very rough time.
Like if this happened during the transition, let's say, of the election of our country.
This will happen before. This will happen.
Like one said, if there is.
If there is one, this will happen before, James. This will happen sooner than very soon. This is a very rough time. Yeah. And there's another thing to it that I want to mention again on August 16th. So this next window that we have is intense because we also have Mars squaring Saturn. And that could have, political, another piece of paper. When you get me talking.
Wow.
Yeah, it's, I can always send it to you.
Okay, yeah.
I'll send it to you.
It's a lot to take in. I just found out what date it was. Yeah,
it is a lot to take in. But Mars in Taurus, in Vedic astrology, it's in Taurus, and it's going to square Saturn in Aquarius. And that's an exact square on August 16th. So that will have to do with, it could be terror attacks. It could be riots. It could be political upheaval. The next week, if we really, look back at this upcoming week, the energy will be very fierce and very chaotic. So,
Kelly, let me ask you a question. Now, because of all astrologically, we see all this and all these energies. Is there a way that we, as humans, as beings here on this earth, can change things up by our thoughts, by changing things, bringing love and changing?
I'd love to say yes. I'm going to say yes.
As a growth.
Yes, I think that's a great way to expand our energy and to put out love, loving thoughts, loving kindness, compassion. We all want to be here during this.
It's good because it's going to go out there. It's going to go
exactly. And so I'm glad you asked that question. Yes, I agree. And it's funny, James. On August 19th, we have a super full moon. It's called a super moon, and that we can have a lot of gratitude for, because this is going to be that full moon. It's a super moon. It has a lot to do with earthquakes and storms and shocking events. But on the other hand of it, there's something about the having gratitude and kindness and compassion that comes with it. Earth is a duality school, Yeah. So we can have love and kindness, and we can have riots. We can have loving kindness, and we can have earthquakes, but we're here to learn. We come to Earth to practice our skills, frankly, right?
One of your predictions came true last night. LA had an earthquake, so.
And that's not even the bigger one that I'm thinking.
I
know. It was today. Actually. It was 4.7, I think, in Pasadena. Yeah, everybody I know was really kind of shook them up.
So grounding would help us in some way.
Yes.
We got to go through it, but we have to ground ourselves. And
yes.
I lie down in the grass because it's just.
Well, let's talk about that, James. What's the best way for people to ground themselves in this chaotic energy, especially for our empaths out there?
So I did 2 years ago. I did Starseed, a show on YouTube. It's on my channel, and I had the whole episode on grounding, and it's all different easy ways as far as foods that you eat. Become aware of your food you're eating. Taste the food. Every step you take, feel the ground below you. And lay down on the ground. Hold on by a tree. Hold the branch. Feel the energy there. Connect with the center of Mother Earth, and we're made from that. And Mother Earth creates life and nurtures us, and that really is true. And take that nurturing energy that she has. Otherwise, we'll get caught in our heads, and it'll be too much for the head.
It's interesting that you said that, because this energy does bring up a lot of anxiety for people. So really, what you're doing is giving people tools to ground themselves, to calm themselves. I listen to music all day long. I have certain songs that I just hit on repeat now.
I just dance by myself. It's great. It's wonderful.
You've always done that.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Yeah. And also, I think that, one thing I learned, especially when I have visions, and the visions I've had have been great visions about the world, or different places or people, whatever it is and I just got to step back and I got to be objective. So I'm watching a movie going on. I'm not emotionally attached to that because I can't be, because it's going to do what it's going to do, and people are going to be who they're going to be. But I can take care of myself and step back and be very objective about watching it. Now, they don't care, of course I do, but I'm just watching this because this is an illusion, this earth and this world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, Renee Rossiter. Hi, Renee. She says, I have a question about chakras with retrogrades. She said,
good question.
It's a great question. She said, can we spin our chakras in the opposite directions to push the negative energy away like a filter? Yes, yes, yes. Great idea. Great idea.
I would also say that propels by the mind. So keeping your mind in happy thoughts, moving thoughts, speeding thoughts. That helps.
Yeah, it does help, James. Really. And having good, let's go out and weed the garden. Very true.
I go pick some fruit. I have a fruit tree. I have some fruit trees where I am.
What are you picking now? Are you doing peaches?
So this is like, everyday life. So beautiful sunset and peach trees out. Peaches, like, oh, I got a peach. Bring Pearl out walking, grab a peach to eat it, and stung by a bee. So as I biting the peach, I pulled out the stinger. Oh, well, they got to eat too.
Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Because you have the best peaches.
Well, I never picked the most delectable one. That's what they liked.
Oh, that's hilarious. I mean, oh my gosh. Cheryl Wharton says, James, can we have a few minutes of a group meditation incorporated in these sessions?
I'm not in the mood today. I'm really not. If I was, I would do it, but I'm not.
Maybe you'll do it during a Facebook Live or something.
I'll do it this week during Facebook Live. I'll do it this week. But right now, I'm just I'm just kind of easing.
I totally.
Evening, and then I have a meeting after this I have to go to. So I'm just kind of, if you forgive me, I was going to chill for a little bit here. And once I found out our guest had internet problems together.
Oh,
so we don't want to. Yeah. But I'll do my Facebook Lives. I'm doing a lot of Facebook Lives, by the way, 3 a week.
Are you?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. Somebody said, James and the Giant Peach. That was my favorite book, Jan Hennessy. I love that book.
I love that story.
That was a great one.
Great story. Yeah. I'm thinking of doing my writer's course in the fall. So I'll let everyone know about that. It's a great course. We've had 20 people published books already from that. 2 years of that. Yeah.
Yay! Congrats. That's fantastic. Lisa says, is the veil very thin now? I feel this.
Oh, yeah. Is it, Kelly? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And listen, we need as much help as we can from the other side during the next several months.
Everybody about our time in Chicago together? Did we mention that? We did.
I don't think we talked a little. Very little. We had a great experience. It was
I don't think we did. I think this group needs to hear about your first reading, because Kelly and I got together and we did a demonstration for the first time, really, in a long, long time, except for the boat, the ship, the COVID ship. Yeah. But Kelly, I'm not sure if we spoke about it or not. But
no, I don't think so, because we haven't done a show together live.
I am. We were doing Fox News and CBS in the morning shows to promote the event in Chicago that evening. And Kelly was there with me, and we're taking pictures and meeting the first person CBS, right, Kelly? The anchor.
First one you did was CBS, and you went right to the and
I'm old now. I don't care. I just get right in there.
Oh my God, James! I thought she was stunned.
I know journalists, and I know what they're sarcastic. I mean, I've been around. I've been through Oprah's. I've been through the news people. I've been through skeptics. I've been through all of them. I don't care. So I just don't want them to feel like scared, if you will.
Right.
So I try to be as compassionate as possible. But yeah, she has some interesting. I think she was all set to say certain things, and then her father showed up. I said, "Is her father behind you?" And he went, "No."
Okay. I was witnessing this. She shook. Oh my God, it was great. It was.
And
great.
then we did another show, and it was at. We
went to Fox after that. Mm-hmm.
And yes, you can see this on the internet too. It's all on the internet.
It was.
At the same time, and then we went. Kelly, why don't you tell them else what happened?
Well, then we had an interesting experience. James and I went to. Are you talking about when we went to lunch and then we did the
breakfast? Yeah, breakfast with the omelets.
We went to breakfast, and we were having a lovely omelet. We both always have said to order the same thing, and we're both eating an omelet. And then, and I'm sorry if this is upsetting, but this is what happened. A woman came over. We were sitting outside, and a woman came over to our table and pointed at my omelet. And I realized quickly that she was mentally ill and she was hungry. And I was thinking, should I give her money? And then she said, we both had the same thought, and I would have done that. But she said, I want your food.
No, she said food, and she pointed right on the food.
And I said, okay. So I gave her my omelet,
She grabbed it.
Yeah, she grabbed it, and then
she had a chance of grabbing it. What did I do?
She takes his plate and puts it on another table for her, and gets her some silverware. You were so sweet and kind.
You had to.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. So we gave her our food, and then she ate, and then she left. And then
I think she was kicked out. I think she was kicked out.
Probably. But then the manager came over, and the manager said, "Oh, that's so disgusting. I'm so sorry." And we both said, "It's not disgusting. It's okay. We're okay." And he said, "Oh, I have to comp your meal." And we said, No, it's okay, really. It was an interesting experience, right?
And I said to Kelly earlier in the day, I said, that we have to remind ourselves that today, anything that happens, that'll be used for a reading tonight when I do a demonstration. Yeah. And that always happens when you're working at a platform. The day of, you really got to pay really particular attention.
Pay attention to everything.
It will fill your mind with these incidents.
Yeah. So we went to our event at the Gordon Theater. It's a beautiful theater. And we were there. And James said, "Kelly, why don't you start?" So I said, I told everybody the story. And I said, I have a brother who's on the other side. And he's coming through to a sister that's here. And I pointed in the right direction. And I knew I was right there. And he's with a woman named Mary. And it turns out a woman was shocked and floored. And I described this person as the brother who died as somebody who was homeless, somebody who had been, either on drugs or alcohol, was homeless and passed away that way. And there were a lot of issues, and he really wanted to come through and apologize and really talk about, he wanted the audience really to understand that he's with the highest possible guide. But this happened, and for the family to have some understanding of what happened. And anyway, it shocked the family that was there, I would say.
Well, and everybody in the audience was affected by it. And to show you everybody, what happens is they use that space that they worked in, having that lady come to our table and take the food. And
yes,
they use that space to create that. And then that was able to be used in the reading because that was in our consciousness. And that happens particularly also in platform mediumship when you're working. All of a sudden, the spirit will say something about, this book, name of a book or something, and that'll open that space. Then a librarian might come through for somebody else, or it opens up those spaces all around.
Yes,
that's how
it really does, James. I mean, for everything that we did that day and just a few days before. And, another thing that happened, James, is you may recall, I had the weirdest thing happen a week before.
You always have weird things happening.
I know.
Your book comes out next month, yes.
My book comes out the first week in September. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. I'm so excited about it. Yeah. But I had a man that came to me the week before, when I was getting up. It was early in the morning. And he said to me, "Would you please give a message to my wife? My wife and daughter are coming to your event. And my name is so-and-so. I died this way." And I mean, full all of these details. And I said, "Well, can you come back in a few days?" And he did. Exactly. I didn't forget. But when I brought this out, and of course the wife and the daughter were there, everything that I said. And she said, "What day did he come to you?" And I said, "It was Sunday morning." And she said, "That's when we bought our tickets." Yeah. So it was and then we did a meet and greet afterwards.
Well, wait, we got to talk about the nuns. So I was going to tell you about actually, we're going to go visit the cemetery. My aunt and the cousins are, and all the rest of them in upstate New York. And that'll be after the Chicago trip. And so, my one nun, my aunt was my close one. She was actually a nun. And I told the whole story about that. Well, then I was working, and all of a sudden they looked to the row, and there were 5 nuns and all these different habits. I'm like, okay, there are all these nuns over here, but I have an aunt who belongs to someone who was her aunt who was a nun, and she left, and sure enough, there was the person right next to me.
It was unbelievable, James. You had 5 little nuns right there.
5 nuns. I'm like, wow.
It was unbelievable. I mean, the way that Spirit set everything up, because the whole nun thing, that was amazing. And then the whole motorcycle thing that I kept hearing the motorcycle behind me. And then there were like 3 people right sitting next to each other that had lost their loved ones from a motorcycle accident.
It's so weird how that all works. But you need to tell the story. You have to, because this is one which I don't know if you put it in the book. I don't think you did, about on my cruise that you went with your stepmom.
Oh,
now this is a great example of how spirit, the intelligence.
I did put that in my book.
You did? Okay.
I did.
Would you mind telling people?
No, I'll tell the story. So how many years ago was that Alaska trip? 6, 7, 8?
What's today's date? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It was a few years ago.
Yeah.
We were going to go, James was doing a trip in Alaska, and I asked my stepmother, who my father had died a year before. And I said, Judy, why don't you come on the show? Why don't you come on to this cruise with us? And she said, I'd really like to do this. And this was not her thing, but she said, I'd really like to go with you. So Judy, traditionally, my stepmother would always be late. And I said to her, look, we cannot be late. James starts at 10. He knows I get there at 9. I have to have my seat. I have to sit in front. Da, 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 da. And she said, don't worry. I will be there at 9 o'clock. And I said, I mean it, because even though it doesn't start till 10, I have to be there at 9 o'clock. And she said, okay. And so off we went early in the morning through hill and dale on this damn ship, trying to get to the room at 9 o'clock. But that's not what happened. Every moment I got blocked by somebody wanting to talk to me. The elevator was out. This was out. We didn't get there until 5 minutes after 10. A 1 hour. Can you imagine? 1 hour.
No, I didn't.
1 hour. So when we walked into that space, I'll never forget the look on your face. You're like, where were you? And I'm like, and there were 2 seats left.
And Kelly, I don't even remember because I'm in that space. So until
you're already in a space.
Yeah.
There were 2 seats left, and they were next to each other, but they were way in the back. And I do not like to sit in the back, but we had no choice. Judy and I had to sit in the back, whatever. And James, you started the program, and you said, "Okay, now turn to the person next to you." So I was going to work with my stepmother, and you said, "If you know them, you can't talk to them. You have to pick somebody new." So Judy turned to the woman next to her. I turned to some lady next to me. And then you started the exercise. And I forget the exercise, but it was a big one. Do you remember what the exercise was?
I think it was a mediumship exercise. And you have to turn your partner. And the partner gives you, because it's a workshop, the name of a person in a contact, the relationship, and a personality trait. It's all they can give you. And then the person has to work through all that and give the information after to the sitter. Okay,
so that's what happened. And then, so that was about an hour's worth of stuff. And then you said, all right, does anybody want to share? I see my stepmother go like, yes. And she like, yes, I do. And I'm like, what? What happened? And here's what happened, folks. It was unbelievable. The woman that she partnered with, it turns out that both of them lost their husbands on the same day a year ago. Both husbands were named Lee. Both husbands were trumpet players, and both husbands performed together. Now, how can that be? Because had I been there on time, that I thought on time at 9 a.m., we wouldn't have known that person. She wouldn't have met her. But that's how Spirit did it. That's how my dad and the other Lee put Judy with her. And do you know that Judy, to this day, James, they're still friends?
Oh, wow.
That Judy and the gal she met on the ship.
Wow. It changed your life. It's amazing. So you got to remember that, everybody. You just got to remember this. There's a divine plan. And the more we just open ourselves up to whatever, surrendering, we can let life happen. We can't, you can't control others, can't control things. Just let yourself do the best you can. That's really what it's about. Really, it's very, very important to do that.
I think that's really all you can do, and let go and literally let it all happen. Let it all unfold.
Let them be in charge. We're here. Let them be in charge of us. As long as we do good things, we're compassionate, kind, and faith, and keep our minds in a good space, we can let them do the rest. It's true.
Absolutely.
So I have an exercise for people to do tonight, Kelly. Instead of the meditation that they would want, there's an exercise we give all of you to do tonight before you go to sleep. That's a good one. Okay. So what you're going to do tonight is I want you to either put a chair in front of a mirror, the bathroom mirror, or a regular mirror. You can sit there. You should be seated when you do this, and make sure the reflection of the mirror is right there. And what I want you to do is make sure it's a dim light. And in your mind, I want you to set up a call, if you will, an intention that I would like to be shown significant past lives of mine. Significant. In other words, the most important for this lifetime here. However you want to word that. But the intention should be that I'm actually going to see where this transfiguration, we call it, where there'll be it's so funny because your eyes might change, your hairline will change. It's really interesting. And maybe have a journal to the side of you. You just quickly write down something and then go back into that space. Then you get into that space with the breath. Remember, everything is with the breath. So I always like to say, breathe in 3, count to 3 through the nose, and let the breath ride all the way down your feet and beyond. And exhale out of your mouth at the count to 5. And I always just say, maybe bring in love, let out fear, whatever you want to do. But with each breath, I remember, and that's all you have to do. Don't overthink it. And let yourself, your eyes will, it's called scrying. They'll get tired. And that's when you start seeing things change. Don't try so hard. It's really important. So I've done this many times, and people that are sitting around see the same thing. The images shift. I was doing this once with my former partner, Brian, and so interesting. We just gazing at each other's eyes. And afterwards, we had to discuss what we got. And he goes, yeah, I didn't get much because I saw him as a Buddhist monk. And I said, yeah, what'd you get? He goes, yeah, I didn't get mine. I just saw you as a Buddhist monk. So we were together in that lifetime.
Wow.
That's when I was scrying him as a soldier in war. And I knew that I was a prostitute friend in Paris. And that he would go off to war, come back and meet me. And then he'd go off to war. And I was in love with him, but I couldn't say anything because I was a lady of the night, couldn't say anything because I was afraid of falling in love. It's very interesting. So you will have that if you write the right intentions, but don't overthink it, everybody. That's really important. You don't overthink it.
Right.
Okay.
Wow. Wow. I think that is so great.
Hey, Melissa said something here, which I want to go back to, which she's talking about cryogenics, which I find a fascinating topic. Cryogenics. I just looked at a documentary on it the other day. Keeping the body alive, the heart alive.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, I think we're souls having a human experience. We're not physical beings. So I don't know what the point of that would be, because we're so much more than this physical body. And there's a much bigger, grander, more expensive life or lives than this one. This is just a bleep in the scheme of things. So, that's fine. But I personally didn't put a lot into it because I'm a soul having a human experience. And when this human experience is over, I'm out of here.
You're right.
I want to go back home.
You mean freezing your head's not going to keep you here?
I don't think so.
Even if you pay all that money?
Like to think these things. As humans, you like to think we're in control and all these things. That's a human part of us. But, the human part is very tiny compared to our eternal selves.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
So
there we go. So Kelly, we're going to skedoodle now, I guess, and we'll be back next week with who's our guest next week?
Next week, I'll tell you, we have a wonderful guest next week. Her name is I forget her first name. Well, her name is Lauren, but I can't remember her last name right now. I'm so sorry, but she does tarot-P. So let me just set the stage here. She's a therapist who works with tarot cards, and her book is called Tarot-P. And she's amazing. Dr. Shirley had a session with her, and she said, Kelly, she's unbelievable.
Wow.
I'm so excited to have her on. I have her book, and it's going to be a great show next week. And I promise everybody, we will get Dr. Linda Backman on our show probably in the next, we're booked for weeks, James. But
maybe we'll have her do a session if she doesn't mind, like a regression for everybody.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
Why don't we just do a group regression for when she comes back? We'll ask her if she wouldn't mind doing that for everybody.
Ooh, that would be,
in honor of you guys, because she couldn't make it tonight. Maybe as a thank you to you guys for being here, we'll ask her if she wouldn't mind doing that for us.
Ooh, that would be great. I'm so excited to talk to her. I'm really a fan of hers. Huge. So we'll see her soon. And so everybody, thank you so much for
thank you everybody for listening. Thanks for the great questions. Thank you very much. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, James. See you guys later.